What's up everyone, Fritz here again with another episode of Sneakerhead Ambition, and today I have another bot ranking video for you. So today I'm going to be going over what I feel are the top Yeezy Supply bots for 2022. And per usual, with any of these ranking videos, it is very important to remember when this is being filmed and posted, and that is about mid-April 2022. Throughout the video, I will obviously be ranking the bots, and I'll also go over some of the features or unique aspects of each bot, which leads me to rank them as they are. So again, this is going to be my opinion, but it is also based off of checkout logs and anecdotal evidence of other people that I know that have run these bots and that I've run myself. At this point, I've pretty much run every bot there is to run. Obviously, I've run more with more success than others. So I do have a pretty good overview of the entire landscape. So that is kind of the information or factors that will be going into my decisions and rankings for this video. I am going to try to make this video a little shorter. I'm going to try to keep it, not to the 60 minute time frame because I have done a bot ranking video, so you could go back and look at the overall ranking video. And I've just kind of come to the conclusion that I need to make these pretty much every 6 months, right? So I will make this one, but there will be another one of these before the end of the year, probably sometime in September, October, November. It will be due, that's kind of how this landscape changes. It changes rather quickly. So there is always new stuff to kind of talk about. And if you go back and you watch my overall bot ranking video from earlier this year, there's already a good amount of stuff that I would change. So per usual, just kind of keep that in mind while you are watching this video. Starting off, I'm just going to go over a couple honorable mentions that did not make my top 5 list, and that would be Toru, Noble, and Prism. So all of those bots have working YS modules, right? They do work, but they, in my opinion, are clearly a tier below the top 5 that I'm going to go over in a second. So again, that would be Toru, Noble, and Prism. I do like the team that all of them have, right? All of them have a solid team of devs that have been around for a while and have been, churning out working modules. So that is obviously a plus. But like I said, they're not having users hit 100 clips like some of the bots that we're going to go over today. So just keep that in mind. Those are all bots that do have pretty good working modules. If you are just trying to kind of get your feet wet without spending a lot of money on a bot, those options are fantastic. Next, I'm going to go over 2 bots that I have ranked at 5 and 4. I'm doing that this way because, again, this is my list, so I can do what I want. But I also feel that these 2 bots, just on a regular basis kind of interchange in this spot. They could perform the 3rd best, could be the 4th, could be out of the top 5. They could both be 3 and 4. It really depends on the day for Yeezy Supply. So those 2 bots that I have at 5 and 4 would be Wrath, I have at 5, and Mech, I have at 4. Now, the difference that I have between these 2 is really just recent performance. I would say that over the past month or 2, Mech has outperformed Wrath just on a YS performance basis. So just keep that in mind. But both of these bots routinely finish in this range. Like I said, the 3 bots that I'm going to go over in the top 3, I feel, again, in my opinion, are clearly a tier above everything else. We've got the honorable mention that I just went over, and then I would put Wrath and Mech AIO. Now, the big thing for both of them, right, is that they're top tier bots that have been around for a long time and have very good teams. So that is one of the best features you can have, quite honestly, because it gives a botter that might have purchased the bot recently a lot of confidence in that purchase. Right? I know if you really look around at the botting landscape right now or over the past year, there's a lot of exit scams. There's a lot of bots that have people paying and are just not performing. So that is something to keep in mind with both of these bots. They have top tier teams, right? And do have other great working modules. This is a Yeezy Supply video, but I would have these 2 coming in at 5 and 4 on the top 5 list. And again, I would have Mech AIO just a hair above Wrath just because of recent performance as of late. Both of these bots do have a great feature, right, that we will hear several times on this list, that they do allow you to have multiple instances. So again, with Wrath and with Mech, if you own a copy, you get 2 instances. You are also able, I know with Mech, able to rent extra instances for big drops. So that also allows you to kind of manipulate your setup based on how big of a drop that is. And same with Wrath, right, you can have that extra instance. So again, that allows you more flexibility and does allow you to run more tasks if you're running one of these bots at this spot on the list for 5 and 4. And again, that was Wrath and Mech AIO. Both of these bots are pretty similar as far as the task count. For Yeezy Supply, around 1,000, maybe a little over. That's kind of what you want to stick to. And they both work extremely well with InBot or AYCD. So I would argue that with these 2 bots, you should probably try to go InBot if you have the Gmails to do so and have enough to spread around. But they do work with both of those options. So that is definitely a plus. RAF is definitely more expensive right now than MEC. I believe MEC's around 1.5K right now, maybe a little more, and RAF is starting to get up there, 3, 4K. So there is definitely a price difference between the two. This is a Yeezy Supply video, so I'm not going to go into that too much. But as far as just what works better on Yeezy Supply, both of these are outstanding options, right? If you're using one of these, you should feel extremely confident with what you're using in that software. Extremely good bots. And again, that's going to be RAF and MEC AIO, RAF at 5, and MEC AIO at number 4. And coming in at number 3 on my Yeezy Supply list right now, I have WhatBot. This is a bot that is really close to cracking that top tier. I think that this is kind of in a middle range of its own right now. I will explain that more in the coming minutes of this video, but really this bot has done extremely well. It is definitely has performed as a top tier bot. The only reason I'm not putting it up there with the next 2 bots on this list is just the fact that it hasn't been doing this well for like 6, 12, 18 months. So what bot I have coming at number 3, and I'll go over some of the details now. This bot has been performing really well on Yeezy Supply now for 6 to 8 months, but over the past 1 to 2 months, it's really taken a step up in its performance. And just from my personal experience, right, for the first time, the past 2 Yeezy Supply drops that I ran, WhatBot hit me the most pairs. So it outperformed Valor for me. So that was surprising, right? And I obviously am going to run it every time from now on, but I've been running that and doing really well with that. So that evidence from my end, right? So that obviously is my experience. That doesn't mean it's a fact, but I've also seen several other people hitting 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 pairs with WhatBot. So just throwing that out there that, you know, if this continues for another month or 2, that this is as good as any bot on the market for Yeezy Supply. As of right now, I have it in the 3rd spot, right? Not in the top tier, but kind of in a level of its own, just because if we see this for a little longer, there's really no denying that it's a top bot. So I have it in the number 3 spot. Just some other just kind of random thoughts about it. One big thing that I've been seeing and has helped me a lot recently with it is just the task count, right? I've heard or had heard that WhatBot can handle up to 5K tasks. So I've been running that, I've been having success, but recently I talked to a couple people and kind of had come to the conclusion that I should lower my task counts within the groups, right? So I lowered my task count overall to about 2.5K and limited all of my task groups, right, to about 250 tasks. I didn't make big groups, even if they were the same proxies from the same company, make different lists, limit them to 250. And I think you're going to see better results. I personally have used AYCD AutoSolve with WhatBot. It has worked really well for me. I've heard some people suggest that I try NBot. I might do that, but for right now, I'm going to kind of stick with what I've been doing because it's really been working well for me. And again, WhatBot is a solid 3rd place, right? And it really is very close to being arguably the best Yeezy Supply bot at this moment. Just remember that this is mid-April 2022, so just take that into consideration whenever you're thinking about buying this or renting it. Now, I just mentioned, unfortunately, that if you're buying or renting WhatBot, right now you can't do that. So they have announced within the Slack channel, right, I've seen it with my own eyes, this isn't something I've heard, that they are going to allow you to be purchasing keys soon or to rent. So that is a great option, but right now you can't do that. So the only way would be to get an invite, but that is changing soon. So if you are looking to add this bot, that should be an option in the relatively near future. I did mention that the bot currently operates on Slack for its channel or communication, which is kind of annoying. I don't really spend any time on there. I wish it was on Discord because I would look at it more. But they are switching from Slack to Discord, so if that is annoying to you or a reason maybe you didn't want it, I don't know. But they are changing that soon, so they should be on Discord and they should allow the bot to be rented and sold. So those are definitely 2 things that we are looking forward to with WhatBot. All right, so apologize for that. As you may have seen, power went out for a second, but onward. So moving on to what I feel are clearly the top 2 bots, right? So we've gone over, we've got at 5, we had RAF, 4, we had MEC, and at 3, we had WhatBot. So the next 2, like I said, I feel in my opinion are clearly the top 2 performers just because of recent performance and how long they have been doing as well as they have. So coming in at number 2, I have Trickle. Now, I do know that there are a lot of people out there who would argue that Trickle is the best. There's a lot of people out there who would argue what I have as number 1 is the best. We'll get to that in a second. But I do know that there are people who believe Trickle is the best. I do see people have a ridiculous amount of success with it, and I also do really well with it when I do use it myself. I do not own a copy. Sometimes I get a weekly or a monthly group buy depending on what is going on that month. Since you can't purchase it, you can't rent it. So that is the only option you really have if you want to try Trickle. So just make sure you're in a good group buy, but this is an outstanding bot for Yeezy Supply and is routinely a top performer in either that first or second spot for total checkouts. Just like I mentioned with other bots on this list, you are able to rent out extra instances, and you have extra instances if you own this bot, right? So for Trickle, you get 2 instances, and if you would like, on drops, they allow you to rent out more instances. So again, the name of the game with Yeezy Supply right now, right, is obviously you need a good bot, but the amount of tasks that you can run. So if you only have a bot like WhatBot, which is an outstanding bot, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't run it, but you don't have 8 instances. If you wanted to run that with Trickle, that technically is possible. So you need to consider that some of these people that are hitting these massive amounts of shoes are running a lot of instances, because Trickle allows you to do that. So that is an outstanding feature for this bot, and definitely something that you're going to want to take advantage of once you start using it and having success. It's pretty easy to scale that setup with the same bot, just more instances. The bot is CLI based, so basically if you don't know what that means, it means that there is no like interface, right? You kind of open up the bot, you're going to see a lot of text feed, and it's just going to be running down the screen. It's a lot harder to do this if this is your first time botting. If this is your first time botting, I would not suggest getting Trickle, right? Mac AIO, WhatBot, Wrath, the bot that's number 1 on this list, right? None of them are CLI, right? That makes it a little easier on the eyes, easier for a beginner, but that does not mean that Trickle does not cook. That actually means that because Trickle has no UI and is running CLI based, that they can actually run more tasks because they're not as hard on the computer. So there is a benefit, right? Like I said, you can have a lot of instances, and you can have thousands and thousands of tasks on that bot for each instance, because it's not taking that much space up on your computer, since the interface isn't there and everything. So again, a lot less intensive on your computer, which again allows you to just run more tasks, which like I said is kind of the name of the game for Yeezy Supply. Just mentioning this one more time, this bot can't be rented, so if you want to try it out, you kind of either got to get a group buy, which is allowed if you're in a group that has them, or you're going to have to buy one. I believe right now it's around 1.5K, so it really does have one of the best Yeezy Supply modules, and if you get your setup right and get the good proxies in there with good Gmails, you should be able to hit 20, 30 pairs on an instance. This bot has done really, really well lately, and I don't really see this changing, right? I see this, the number 1 bot on my list, and probably WhatBot from what I said earlier, really being in that clear top tier. And you know, if you're running this bot, like I said, if you've got a decent setup, you're gonna hit a lot of pairs, even if the stock is low. And finally, coming in at number 1 on my list, if you watch my channel regularly, you will probably know what I'm about to say, but I do believe that Valor is the number 1 Yeezy Supply bot right now. I think it's also the number 1 bot, but Yeezy Supply video, so I'll stick to that. But I've had this bot now for over half a year. I'm thrilled with its performance, thrilled with it on Yeezy Supply, Foots, Shopify, FNL, across the board. So that's what I have as number 1, and I'll go into a little more detail now. One reason that I personally prefer this over Trickle is just that it takes up a lot less space Gmail-wise. As many of you may know, Gmails are a big issue right now, and you know, if I'm running 4 instances of Valor, all I need is 4 Gmails. That could take up to 20 Gmails for Trickle. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, right? Bots use what they're going to use, but that is a really great feature for me, and I like that I have a UI with Valor as opposed to Trickle. Makes it easier to adjust, you know, mid-drop. I will continue to get better and better with Trickle, but I do prefer Valor. And again, the resources that you need for it, you barely need any Gmails. And if you're running 1 instance, right, 1 or 2, let's say you buy a copy, you only need 2 Gmails. It's a pretty good deal, right? Because Gmails can get expensive. It can get hard to get all of those 1 clicks. But when you've got Valor, all you need is 1 really good one, and it'll last you an entire drop. This bot also allows you, once you have a copy and own one, right, to purchase extra instances for drops. So again, this allows you to scale up your setup quite a bit. So that is something to remember. And just one more thing to remember, right, you are not allowed to rent this. So again, you need to either purchase it, or you can get monthly group buys if you're in a good cook group. So again, it's me saying the same thing, right? Get in a good cook group, right? Like, it really helps. If you have this bot or Trickle because you got it in one of your groups, right, that's gonna allow you to have opportunities and success that if you're using NSB, right, no, nothing wrong with NSB, but the two are just not comparable. Anyways, like I said, I'm gonna try to make this video a little shorter just because I know that these bot rankings change a lot, and I'm gonna make another one in several months. So if you want a more in-depth take on some of these bots, I do have tutorials up for some of them. I've got one up for Wrath, I've got one up for Trickle, I got one up for Toru. So I do have some of those up. You can feel free to check those out, but this is my current take on the situation for Yeezy Supply. Like I said, I think that they're, as of like today, mid-April. I think that the 3 top bots for Yeezy Supply again are Valor, Trickle, and Whatbot. I think that those 3, just as of recent performance, are clearly performing better than the other bots. Then you've got Wrath and Mech, and then you've got the honorable mentions that I mentioned with Toru, Noble, and Prism. Just have to mention this as well, right? This is a Yeezy Supply video, so I am going over the bots, but you need to have your Gmails in order if you are gonna have success, right? You can have all the proxies in the world and the best bot, but if your Gmails are garbage, you're not going to hit. So you need to make sure that that's in order, and then worry about the bots, worry about the proxies. But if your Gmails aren't working, it doesn't matter what your setup is, things are not going to go well. And always a massive shout out and thanks to my sponsors. Again, I'm really honestly only working with companies that, like I said, and have mentioned in other videos, that I'd used prior to getting sponsored, working with them, any of that. So I really am only working with companies that I would highly suggest you use as well. So again, those are just pictured over my shoulder. I will have information in the comment section below for all of them. And again, that would be Live Proxies, Oculus Proxies, Proxy Heaven, and Diamond. All 4 of those are outstanding options. And then also, if you are looking for a safe place to rent bots, I know that that is a big concern for a lot of people. So if you are looking for somewhere to do that safely, you can go to the bot spot. I have information for that as well in the comment section below. So like I said, if you're looking for any of those proxies, rentals, any of it, servers, Oculus Live, they also sell servers. Anything you need for botting, those companies are gonna have it covered. So again, just check out the information below. And I do use all of these companies with success, so I'm not pumping some stuff that I don't actually use. Anyways, that's all for today's video. Check back in a couple days. I should have another video up with just a couple short live cops from a couple Shopify drops and FNL drops and Footsite drops over the past couple week or two. So check back in a couple days for that. And then this coming weekend, I should have a live cop up from the foams, which I will be preparing for this week. So check back for that in the coming days. And until next time, see ya.